When Mark Alsher said to me one day, he's the fellow who did a lot of translating for me, and Mark said he was starting a Leyenkrayz, and he said there would be 5 of us. There'd be Mark and Andy Castle, Ruth, myself, and a girl by the name of Pearl. And Mark, and he started to learn Yiddish when I did, that he had a great background in Hebrew, and it really helped him out in Yiddish. But he is really a student. He loves Yiddish. But Mark decided to start this reading circle, and we did it for about 1 day a week for about 5 years. And the rule was you could only speak Yiddish. Well, I didn't say too much. The others did the talking. But we read different things. Mark would cut little articles out that he thought we might be interested in, and we read those about all different subjects. Now, no one of them stands out of my mind. I think that reason is that I had such a hard time understanding the spoken Yiddish that nothing stood in my mind. I think that Ruth may remember better than I, or Andy. Then about the 2nd or 3rd year, a Russian doctor joined us, and her father had been a Yiddish teacher in Russia. So she brought to the reading circle, she brought how Yiddish was handled in Russia and what words in Yiddish came from a Russian derivative and how they came to mean what they do in Yiddish, and she could explain the difference. Ruth added to the group that she knew a lot of things you don't read about in books, especially with women. Ruth and her mother would go out shopping, and a lot of it had to do with things around the house that Mark couldn't find out from a book. And so Ruth would advise them on things like that. So everybody brought something to it, but this was all done in Yiddish, and I was struggling to understand what everybody said because I don't have a facility for language. But I loved Yiddish, and I wish I did, but I don't have a facility for too many things. But that's because my mother and father didn't give it to me. It's not my fault. But so we did that for about 5 years, and when it came to writing these books, when I wrote the 4 books between 1992 and last year, when I finished the last one, there were 4 of them. There were many occasions where I had to do research in Yiddish newspapers, Yiddish letters, Yiddish documents, that my little Yiddish I knew, helped me. And I would always try to translate, and then I would give it to Mark, and he would mark it all up, and I'd give it back to him to make sure it's all correct.